Hey guys, how y'all doing? Well, things have been kind of under construction, we'll say, from the last time, doing some videos, right? So, I'm in a little bit better place, now, so that's the good parts there. Um, but moving along, well, I hope everybody's doing good. Well, I was thinking, I'm not quite sure why. Maybe I was dreaming about it. I'll dream things. Do y'all do that? Do you like dream things but don't remember what you dreamed, but then something will come up that, it's like, oh, I must have been dreaming about this. You know what I'm saying? But I was thinking about, like, in the Bible stories about people getting, arrested, falsely accused and arrested. In the Bible stories, right? The greatest story ever told, right? Um, but so I started thinking about, like, Joseph, all right? Well, Joseph was falsely accused of, like, sexual assault by a woman that was, jealous, that wanted him, but he did not want her. So, he was falsely accused and put in jail for it, right? And then, I'm trying to remember who else was jailed, but and then I thought about, I almost said Moses. For some reason, David came up because, like, David, he must have lived in a big house, like the real big house, because of all those, family members. There's like a lot of brothers and stuff, right? But he was concealed, you know. So he was concealed, to keep, I don't remember who it was, but to keep him from being seen or known about, right? And, there's just all kinds of stories about that. Look that stuff up. That's, a good thing to research and look at patterns, right? Look at patterns and history. You know how history repeats itself, right? So, that happens. So, you look at that. Oh, let me get my water. Damn. Oh, I hate that. Sit down and forget. Sit down with my water. Oh. So, but I mean, like, if any of this stuff was modern day, like, they would hide him or her, right? But they would hide him, like, under a name like Pocahontas or Spotted Eagle or something, like that. Just something, how they do. But, I mean, I'm in a hotel room, so that's definitely nicer than where I was, and able to get some sleep. Um, it is very different, when you're staying outside like that, because the heat, you're dealing with heat stroke, and if you stayed anywhere where they have the heat turned up, well, you're probably dealing with heat exhaustion and heat stroke and don't know it. A lot of times you'll feel cold when you're dehydrated, or hot and cold, but it causes problems with, like confusion and stuff like that, and um, dizziness. There's different, symptoms depending on what type it is. There's apparently multiple types under heat stroke, right? So, and not knowing that, and you're, outside in it, and, you're dealing with people that, probably aren't doing well. Talking about other people as well that are outside. That's, something that should be addressed. And, people treating them like they're bad people because they won't work. Well, you go live outside, see what that's like, you know. Because you're like very exhausted, and it's like you can't get ahead because someone would need to go somewhere to rest and start getting on the road back to healing, and it's not something that happens right away depending on how bad it is, right? But a lot of people need to start looking at people that are homeless and stuff differently. I mean, why are so many middle class ending up homeless or living in their cars? Why is that happening? We have to look at changing things, and I mean like bigger change, right? But and then there's, like I said, point out the Bible stories and look at, like I said, patterns, and you can really see things, like where things will end up. Those generational curses that, things that have happened a long time ago, they repeat. If they're not caught and something happened, that stuff repeats, doesn't it? Even if you don't know that or believe that or whatever, but if you do research, you'll find out it does. Generation after generation. And that's also how you can tell a lot about families. Like who comes from where and stuff like that, right? Oh man, you can really tell a lot with the patterns, and things that are repeated, in lifetimes and stuff like that. And I don't want to make this very long. Really, I just wanted to make a video just to, pop in here that I'm still, kicking. And, getting things ready and straightened up. But, don't fear change, or things coming to change. Just try to look at things with different perspectives. There's something I was watching on, I don't know what it was, but it was like Old World. It was talking about, like them teaching to read differently, like forward, backward, inverted, outverted, just every kind of different way that existed. Because then you would look at things differently. You would read words and see more into it than perhaps maybe others that never learned that, right? So if you learn that, you see more than, say others that don't, right? So this would help expand your consciousness. As well as, there's other things you can do, but that is huge right there because it does help you to look at things in different directions with different perspectives, right? And that really changes the trajectory of how you look at things. You'll see things, differently instead of the simple way of looking at things. It's like looking at things one-dimensional and then looking at things, from one-dimensional to three-dimensional to five-dimensional, It's like that. But, there's more than to just the regular way of reading that we were taught. And it does seem like, they sent people to school to dumb them down, y'all. I mean, it's kind of hard to, not, to sit there and say, no, they didn't do that. Yeah, they did. Alright, like I said, I was just making this short, pop in here and, say, hey guys, But things still under construction and being worked on, but never ever ever give up and keep going, always. Like I said, sometimes you've got to take some time to take care of yourself, and whoever else around you that may need taken care of and stuff like that, in your world, um, so that's important, right? But working on things, but things being worked on for the better and getting better, is a bit to get out from where I was. But just even the healing part, because like when you go without eating and stuff like that, it's it does some damage to you, far as your organs not working, certain ones, because it goes to certain areas to keep you in survival, right? So you have to watch how you start eating again. You have to work at it slowly. You know what I mean? Like easily digestible stuff first, and then work your way up. Things like that. Things people probably don't even think about, but it's things you find out whenever you go through something like this, right? But all right, y'all. Like I said, I was gonna keep this short. Storage issues and stuff like that. All right, y'all. God bless. Take care.